Okay, so just took my little break and continuing on Countershox in part 2 of my video with the Rieju on Countershox, the 2022 MR 300 Pro. I see now they have a, or I guess 2022, they have a, six days version, French. Yeah, colors are okay, but I don't know. It's not badly priced compared to the other brands. It's we'll round it up, $11,000. I think it's $10,999 MSRP. That's not, you know, horrible. As far as name brand bikes go, that's pretty dang cheap, you know. You all know I do the GPX Moto deal. Those are good bikes, good service, good customer support. So I like bikes that are good. This is basically the gas and the company that bought the rights to produce the old stuff. Well, they seem to be doing pretty good. You know what I mean? They've made basic improvements. They didn't go out and drastically make changes, because that wouldn't be smart when you buy a kind of a brand. They didn't really buy the brand. KTM bought the brand, but the technology, the proprietary stuff, KTM just didn't care about. No, KTM bought the brand, and I would guess said, this is what we want. We want your name. We want your trials bikes. And you can sell the tech aspect of it to somebody. Which is smart. Because if you're not gonna, if a company wants to buy you but they don't want the whole package, then yeah, they get a little bit better deal, and you can sell the technology, the old design, to somebody else. Makes sense. I just don't like the fact that a big brand like KTM buys up other brands and then acts like this was a gas or this was a Husky. It's like, no, they're not. They're KTMs with slightly different parts, slightly different color plastics, maybe slightly different design plastics even, but they're KTMs. You know, they lost the uniqueness. They lost the, you know, R&D to be competitive and maybe come up with a different design. I mean, does everyone want all bikes to only be KTM? Because then you will never have innovation. So it's nice that there's brands out there that are trying to do things differently, and we might see something differently. You know, I gotta say, I really appreciate you all watching my videos, getting close to 13,000 subscribers. You know, I never really took YouTube too seriously. It was just like extra money, but I'm taking it more and more seriously. I like doing it. It's fun, and I would like to make improvements, you know, do better. So you might start seeing me do thumbnails and stuff. It was my policy a long time. I did the thumbnails at one point, and then I was just like, no. It just seems so clickbaitish when I watch videos, but that's what YouTube likes. YouTube likes the clickbaitness, you know. I hate that, but that's the reality of it. So I'm gonna be making thumbnails, as by the time you've seen this video, you probably will see thumbnails. And you know, they are what they are. So I'll apologize to people that I am leaving my kind of principle of, you know, I hate channels that say, like I watch Hoovie's Garage, for example. I hate when he says, cheapest car in America. It's like, oh, I don't know, yeah, can you really prove that? No, you can't prove it one way or the other. So he can say it because he can just be like, well, it was on this day. Okay, maybe it wasn't. No one's ever going to really know. And he doesn't really know that. He'll just say through his online stuff what he looked at that seemed like the cheapest. So my Land Rover is the cheapest vehicle in America. My Maybach was the cheapest. He always does that. I find it a little annoying. But I get it. I do get it. If you're actually trying to make the big bucks and trying to get clicks, that's why you say stuff like that. So people will click the video and watch it. I mean, I can remember early on in the YouTube days, I was watching that guy, Casey Neistat, just to see why he was so popular. I still don't understand why he was popular, but I don't understand why close to 13,000 people want to watch my content, per se. But, you know, it was like something about my Ray-Bans. I forget exactly. I was like, huh, okay, what's the issue? And I watched the video and I'm just like, it took him like 30 minutes. His videos are long too, at least when I watched some of them. It was like 30 minutes and then he was like 1 minute of whatever the Ray-Ban thing was, and that was it. I was like, really? Are you bullshitting me? And then that's when I started, soon after that, not trusting YouTubers and just skipping through the videos. And literally, I do that. If you do that to mine, that's fine. I mean, I've told people, I don't even mind if you run ad block, where there's been people that, creators that really got on subscribers before in the past, like, you know, you're taking money from me. This is how I make my living. Because you run ad block, I can't make that money, blah, blah, blah. Well, I watch a lot of YouTube now on TV myself. And as far as I know, there's no ad block, right, on my TV. So the ads tend to go. You can skip them. Sometimes they're annoying because it's like non-stop ads, but you know, I don't mind it so much. I might walk away even and go take a pee, you know, kind of like the old days of commercials. They're not quite as long as modern commercials for most of them. Some are like, really, this is 3 minutes long? Why is there this ad for some hot topic that I probably can't talk about because YouTube would get mad at me, call me racist? But you know, some thing that is like, really, 3 minutes? I mean, you can skip it, but it's a good ad for walking away on. I don't find that TV ads have ever made me say, I'm going to look up that product. I have never done that myself. And I always found it funny watching an ad for, back in the days of TV, an ad for ketchup. Well, I don't really buy stuff per what an ad says, but I am ingrained with, what did my mom use? What did I grow up on? That's what I tend to like. Like, some people grow up on Miracle Whip and they love it. They might love it more than Hellman's. But you know, I grew up on Hellman's, so I like Hellman's. I'm kind of a snob with that. Like, it has to be Hellman's, or out west it's also called Best Foods, if you didn't know. Same company. But I didn't know that for a long time. I was like, what is this Best Foods generic stuff? Because our grocery stores here in Colorado will have both. Sometimes, whatever, I guess, distribution center it came from, whether it came from the West Coast or East Coast. And yeah, you know, once I learned it's the same, I was like, oh, okay. But that's how things work for me. It's what I grew up with. Like, if you grew up with your dad always riding a Yamahas, for example, you're probably going to have a predisposition towards buying Yamaha. If your dad always wore Fox racing gear, well, they're probably going to, he's probably going to buy you Fox racing gear as a child. And that's the brand you know, so that's what you always buy. It doesn't mean you won't make a change depending if your riding changes, but you have a more, there's a higher percentage likelihood that you will buy that brand. Now, if I watch a TV ad for Joe Blow's riding gear, am I going to actually buy it? Some people might, but I personally won't. Again, I'm more likely to buy the brands I have used. I've used P-Tech skid plates. I mean, I've used other ones too. I love the P-Tech skid plate, so I'm likely on all my bikes from now on, as long as they make a skid plate for it, buy a P-Tech skid plate. And that's not because I'm a dealer and get a good price on it now. I would have done that anyways. For example, Climb over the years has hooked me up with gear. They've been very gracious. The Summers and their marketing guy, he, you know, whatever. They've hooked me up over the years. All I can say is good to know people. Treat brands good. Take pictures. Do quality. It doesn't even have to be that quality of job. Just do a job of promoting. And there's a likelihood they'll at least give you a percentage off, if not some free stuff. I'm not saying Climb, I'm just saying everyone in general. I've done a lot of free taking photos and this and that and having the companies like my photos and using my photos, and then I'm like, hey, can I get some stuff? And they're like, yeah, you know. I'm in no contract. Now, a lot of people want to be in a contract or get paid on top of the promotions. I understand. Maybe you're a racer and you got to make money somehow, right? I get it. I get it. I don't fault you for that. But I also realize I'm not going to ask Chris Birch what adventure bike he likes. I'm not going to ask him what tires he runs, because it's going to be Midas. That's what he runs. He's a nice guy. He's a humble guy. He's a great guy. And I might even take one of his classes next year. I saw his thing last minute for the US this year, and him and I had talked a long time ago, maybe him coming out and doing some classes and this or that. So, yeah, I mean, he's taking the time out of his day to talk to me about stuff, doing events and whatnot. So, I don't know, I'm gonna give him a date for my Silverton event, and who knows, maybe he can come out, maybe he'll show some pointers. I'm just a bloke, I don't have money to pay him, but you know, maybe we could hook him up with a cabin or something, you know, and maybe we could ask people for donations, like, hey, he's gonna be out there, he's gonna be doing some free stuff, you know, he's a way above beyond what we could just pay out of our pockets to have there. But he says the dates could work for him. Would you all, you know, want to maybe pitch in and we can raise some money and give it to him? You know, hook him up with a room and just have a good time, and maybe he'll have KTM come out with some bikes, and you know, just everyone have a good time. So kind of forgot where I was going with that. There's that woo flu. I lose my train of thought nowadays so easy, and it's not just because I'm riding. Obviously I'm talking right now as I'm riding. If I have other people and I'm following them and I'm thinking about them, it's hard to talk. So when I come do these solo rides, it's much easier for me to talk, and I don't have to worry about somebody stopping and then we have a conversation. Then I totally get lost on what I was talking about. Rieju is doing great, you know, flowing good. Although it's like a racetrack out here today with the Decomposition Granite. So if you haven't ridden in Colorado, this is what you want. You want rain the night before. Why? Because it packs down this decomposing granite, not gravel, decomposing granite, and you get, it's like one solid rock. You get great traction. It just locks the little blocks of granite together. And it's granite, so it's not round. It's, you know, sharp edges, square if you want to call it square, but sharp edges. So it locks together with moisture. There's no dust, and you get to just kind of cruise along. And it's actually less work for you too, because back end's not sliding every which way. Now a lot of places, you get out like, you know, puddles in the trail. It's like snot, right? It's slick. Now, not all of Colorado is decomposing granite. Like, you go up a Meeker, Colorado, there's a lot of black dirt and clay, and it's nasty. It's downright nasty. You slip, you slide, and those are terrifying when you're on a Jeep road, let alone on a single track. At least single track, you have one line, right? But so many times you can just like try a stop going down a steep hill, and you can, and you're on both brakes, and you end up like spinning around. And I just got a bug in my eye. Whoa, don't go off the trail. Not too graceful, but I got over. It was definitely wet. So one thing out here in Colorado we're not used to is wet logs. So roots are scary for people. Logs can be scary because we're just not used to them. But this is the type of stuff that's fun to ride. And now it's light at 7. So when I drove down here, still headlights on the road, dark. You know. And it's gonna be kind of dark for the video because the sun, it's kind of cloudy today, overcast. But it's supposed to just be, I think, just be partly cloudy. And we'll get up to like 10,800 feet, I want to say, on Mount Rosa. So, you know, we're going from like, I would guess 8,500, 8,000 or so to, you know, above 10. So if you want an idea for jetting, if you got a bike that's easy to jet and whatnot, you know, change out that stuff, then it's not a big deal if you're on a trip. Otherwise, you know, look at a smart carb. I've run them in the past. I'm not running one currently on anything because so far my beta just works. But it's kind of on my list to get one. Why? And we definitely want one for the Rieju because it's a little more picky. And then that way, if we get one, you know, it'll just be easier for the renters too, because if they take it from here in Moab, you know, you're less of an elevation. So that way it's kind of, some people say, well, it's not the best because you won't necessarily get the power at any certain elevation. Well, that's fine, as long as the bike runs and works. As long as the person can still enjoy their day. If they're a racer, yeah, worry about that. But a trail guy, just a normal trail rider, you don't have to worry about that. People get too worked up on stuff if they're not a racer. And if you're not a podium guy, why are you worried about it? Honestly, think about it. If you're just racing for fun, I don't know, jetting's one less thing you have to worry about also. And you might be fast, you're probably faster than me, but if you're just doing it for fun and not really to ever be on the podium, then why are you worried about it? I don't know, some people get really competitive. I do get competitive with friends, but outside of friends, I don't really care. That's why, like, thinking about doing, probably will. I think we're all set. A lot of people want to go Grinding Stone 9 Nails to watch. A couple of us want to ride it. And I'll ride it if the other people are riding it. Otherwise, I'll just go and watch also. Because then I'll know somebody out there, and you know, we can kind of, for our group, we kind of run at the same pace, if you will, so we can help each other through stuff. We know we're not going to come in first or anything, so, you know, do some GoPro videos, get pictures of people, of riders, and just enjoy ourselves and not really worry about being out there for the race itself. You know, at least the first time going. It's going to be more or less, I'm going to check it out and get video and just interact with people, racers, and the people I'm there with. And if it's something I'm like, you know, I'm kind of like, hey, that was a lot of fun. And I'll take it more seriously maybe the following year. You know, go back and just take it more seriously as a race and see where I get. But I'm not the fastest rider, but I guess what I do have is pretty good endurance. I can push myself when other guys are like, oh, I'm dead. I might be dead inside, but I've done so much dual sporting where it's 300-mile day, and I'm tired. I've been sitting in the saddle. I've been standing. I've been on ATV trails, Jeep trails, some single track, and I just want the day to end. But you got to keep pushing yourself. You got to conserve the water. You got to conserve the munchies. And you know, I'm just like, well, I'm pretty good at that. You know, so I think if I just, on some races, if I were doing, I just ran my kind of just normal pace like this, how I'm talking, or I'm just kind of flowing along, you know, I might do decent because I got the ability to push myself and keep going. Especially if there's like a guy that comes up behind me as I'm going up Mount Rosa or something, you know, I'll push myself to get to the top and then go ahead and be like, oh, okay, I'll gotta stop talking there. I push myself to continue to the top and then take my break. Definitely has a higher top speed. It does seem snappier than my gas, but that was so long ago when that was new and probably at its full potential. And the guy I sold it to that I ride with, Bill ended up getting a beta, I think a 200, because that's what they had at the dealer, and he sold/traded the gas to a guy that actually has watched my videos. So hey, dude, thanks for watching. Because Bill was like, that's this bike. That bike you've seen in all those videos, that's this bike. So that's pretty cool. So it was a solid bike. I never had issues. That's why I would consider Rieju, even though I don't think this is as smooth as my beta and there's more vibes, the longevity is awesome on the engine. So that's where I hope, as Rieju does develop other stuff, that they don't cut corners on longevity of the engine. You want to be a trail rider, you want to go out there and just ride like I do. Yeah, you're not going to be on the pipe really on this type of stuff. People are like, on the pipe. And that's where you're wearing out the motors quickly, is because you're going fast, which there's nothing wrong with that. I like going fast too. I'm just, you know, that's where engines take a toll, where you're just like on the pipe every turn. You know, you're a racer and you're like, like through all this stuff. You're a normal trail rider, most bikes are gonna last you a long time. I think I'll go ahead and cut the video here and just do another part, because I know the videos can get quite long when you're riding, talking, and multi-subjects and stuff. Kind of a vlog more than anything. So I apologize for that, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And hopefully you all do take something away from this, learn something, and you all have a good and awesome day. So take care, stay well, stay safe, my friends, and get out there and ride your dirt bikes.